Full on the town he felled, and his last throats splintered it up in sparks and gledge. The lake roared in, vast stream leaped up, and white in the shadowed dark under the moon. There was a hiss, a gushing wind whirl, then silence, and there was the end of Smog and Esgroth, but not of Bard. The waxing moon rose higher and higher, and the wind grew louder and cold. It twisted the white fog into bending pillars and hurrying clouds and drove it off to the west to scatter in tattered shreds over the marshes before Mirkwood. Then their many boats could seem and over the marshes before Mirkwood. Then the many boats could be seen dotted back on the surface of the lake, and down the wind came to the voices of the people of Esgroth, lamenting their lost town and goods and ruined houses, but they had really much to be thankful of. Had they thought of it, though it could hardly be expected that they should just then, 3/4 of the people of the town had at least escaped alive. Their woods and fields and pastures and cattle and most of their boats remained undamaged, and the dragon was dead. What it meant they had not yet realized. They gathered in mournful crowds upon the western shores and shivering in the cold wind, and their first complaints and anger were against the master, who had left the town so soon while some were still waiting to defend it. He may have a good head for business, especially in his own business, some murmured, but he is no good when anything serious happens. And they praised the courage of Bard and his lassie might shot. If they only had not had been killed, they all said, we would make him a king. Bard, the dragon shooter, line of Gwyron, all us that he is lost. And in the very midst of their talk, a tall figure stepped from the shadows. He was drenched in water, his black hair hung wet over his face and shoulders, and a fierce light was in his eyes. Bard is not lost, he cried. He dived from Esgroth when the enemy was slain. I am Bard of the line of Gwyron. I am the slayer of the dragon. King Bard, they shouted. But the master ground his chattering teeth. Gwyron, the lord of Dale, not king of Esgroth, he said. In the lake town we have always elected masters from among the old and wise, and have not endured the rule of mere fighting men. Let King Bard go back to his own kingdom and Dale is now freed by his valor, and nothing hinders his return, and anything that which can go with him. If they prefer the old cold stones under the shadows of the mountains to the great shores of the lake, the wise will stay here and hope to rebuild our town and enjoy again in time its peace and riches. We will have the King Bard, the people near at hand shouted in reply. We have had enough of old men and the money counters. And people further off took up and cried the bowmen and down the money bags till the clamor or echoed among the shore. I am the last man for undervalued bowed bowman, said the master wrathfully. For Bard now stood close beside him. He factors of our town, and he is worthy of many imperishable songs. But why, O people? And here the master rose to his feet and spoke very loudly and clear. Why do I get all your blame? For what fault am I to be disposed? Who aroused the dragon from his slumber, I might ask? Who obtained of us rich gifts and ample help, and led us to believe that old songs could come true? Who played on our soft hearts and our pleasant fancies? What sort of gold have they sent down the river to reward us? Dragon fire and ruin. From whom should we claim the recompense or damage or aid of our widows and orphans? As you see, the master had not got his position for nothing. The result of his words was that for the moment their people quite forgotten the idea of the new king, and turned their angry thoughts towards Thorin and his company. Wild and bitter words were shouted from his many sides, and some of those who had before sung the old song loudest were now heard as loudly crying the dwarves had stirred the dragon up against them deliberately. Fools, said Bard, why waste words on wrath on those unhappy creatures? Doubtless they perished first in the fire, before Smog came to us. Then, even as he was speaking, the thought came into his heart, and of the fabled treasure of the mountain came into his heart, and of the fabled treasure of the mountain lying without guard or owner. And he fell suddenly silent. He thought the master of woods and a dale rebuilt, and filled with golden bells, and if he could not burn, but find the men. At length he spoke again. This is no time for angry words, master, or for considering weighty plans of charge. There is work to do. I serve you still though after a while I may think again of your words and go north with any that will follow me. Then he strode off to help in the ordering of the camps and in the care of the sick and wounded. But the master scrolled at his back, and he went, and remained seating of the ground. He thought much about and said less, until it was too cold loudly for men to bring him fire and food. Now everyone at Bard went where he found talking, running like fire among the people, concerning with the vast treasure that was now unguarded. Men spoke of recompense for all the harm that they would soon get from it, and wrote over and to spare with which to buy the rich things from the south, and it cheered from them greatly in their plight. That was as well for the cheered and them greatly. That was for as well the night, but was bitter and miserable. The shelters could contribute for few. The master had one, and there was little food even the master went short. Many took. Many took ill or wet on cold and sorrow that night, and afterwards died. Few had escaped sorrow that night, and afterwards died. Few had escaped and injured from the ruin of the town. And in the days that uninjured from the ruin of the town, and in the days that followed, that there was much sickness and great hunger. Meanwhile, Pudbard took the lead and ordered things as he wished, though always in the master's name, and he had a hard task to govern the people and direct the preparations for.